What is up, audience? Welcome back to Rent Free History. But before we get into the stuff that we normally do here, which is talk about random stuff, I have an announcement for you. Kemdi and I have come up for a name for you guys. What? What do you mean? There's only been so many jokes saying that we just call you audience with no specific ties to us or our show. We thought of the perfect one. For our audience of Rent Free History, you shall henceforth be known as the freeloaders. Get it? Because you're living rent-free and we're going through history as freeloaders? Anyway, freeloaders, welcome back to Rent Free History. You've got me, Peyton, and also Kemdi, and today we are going to talk about school. We're going to jump around and arrange things, but we also realized that, guys, I just kind of came on this show. I just kind of popped up one day, and even our guests have been like, so how do you guys know each other? Well, would you believe? Kemdi and I met in school, but more to come on that later. So yeah, we're going to give some advice because we're like experts at school because we both have degrees on our wall that you can't see, but I promise it's there and I'm not lying. And also, that's it. Actually, we're practically experts on school according to those degrees. But no, it's a very big time for a lot of people. They're going through a lot of transitions, whether you're starting college, you're starting high school or middle school, or even if you're transferring, if you're a transfer student going from community college to a bigger university, or if you're transferring just to a different university in general. Lots of transitions happening here, so it can be helpful to hear from people that have done it before, especially because there's a lot of things that just kind of go unnoticed. And now I sit in bed sometimes lying awake, thinking rent-free, oh, would you believe it, about these things that I wish I would have thought of when I was in college and actually needed them. You know, like the time when you're just like, well, I'm going to go to sleep now. Actually, would you believe I just had this crazy thought, and then you have to ponder it for a little while.
So yeah, we're going to talk about school, but more specifically college. That little thing that we both went to that, as Peyton said before, we have degrees on our walls for. I do not have mine on my wall, though. I actually don't know what my degrees are. I think they might be in a box under this desk that I'm at, but I haven't seen them since I got them. I put them in like a frame and then they just went in a box, honestly.
See, and did you catch that, audience? Kemdi said degrees, plural. I just have the one. But yeah, homie's got multiple degrees. But yeah, mine's in a frame because one of my best friends is a super talented framer, and she framed it for me, and it's all nice and pretty. Oh, it has my name on it and everything. Would you believe? Would you believe? But yeah, I'm trying to get Kemdi to find them and hang them on his wall, so then the joke would be funnier every time I mention it. I think I've mentioned it quite frequently as a little joke in our episodes.
I don't know where they'd go, though. I am going to be moving rooms pretty soon, so maybe I'll have more space then, but they'd probably go maybe somewhere above this Michael Jordan poster.
Period.
But yeah, college, it's kind of what many people think of as one of the best periods in your life. You've finally gotten all this freedom that you didn't have before in high school. High school, you're kind of getting bits and tastes of freedom. You get your sort of inklings towards what could be. You're hanging out with your friends more. You get a car, you get a job, you get a little responsibility, but not too much to where it feels like, oh, I'm an adult. Everything's all crazy. I don't like the way my life is going at the moment. And then college is like the perfect little in-betweener of all of that, especially that first couple years when you're living on campus, if you do live on campus, because, you're living with a bunch of strangers, kind of getting a feeling of what it's like living with other people. And you get, your college cafeteria, if you choose to use that, college dining experiences and stuff like that. get a little bit of money. You might have a job in college, whether it be work study or just an off-campus job. And you're going to school for something you actually care about. You spend most of high school not really caring about math or chemistry or history, whatever subject you didn't really care about. But now, once you get past all your requirements, of course, you can actually go to school for something you wanted to do. So that's it's a big thing. And me and Peyton, actually, we went to school for the exact same thing.
We have so much in common. No, I'm just kidding. But no, we did both go for the same thing. Kemdi just decided to be an overachiever and took it a step further and got his master's. Okay, fine. But we did both study cinema and television arts at California State University, Fullerton. If you're debating on going to Cal State Fullerton, reach out. We had a really great time there. We would love to talk to more people about it. But yeah, I guess we could start there and then we can backtrack, because even I would love to talk about roommates. My time living on campus was a little bit interesting. I started my first year just like typical living on campus, and then my second year I was actually a resident advisor, so that really changed my perspective on campus living. Let me tell you. But yeah, Kemdi and I met actually. It was both of our last years of college. Kemdi was finishing up his master's program, and I was finishing up my last semester of my senior year of college. And the class was a part of Kemdi's master's requirement, because his master's is in screenwriting. Sorry, I'm spoiling it. He can tell you though. He can put his voice over me saying it. But I was able to take the class on an exception. Certain people from the department, I guess, were reached out to fill up space in this class, which was adaptations for screenwriting. And it was one that I was really, really wanting to take, but it was off limits because you had to have either certain prereqs or you had to be in this master's program that I was not in at the time. And I'm not in now. I'm not doing school anymore. But we met there, and it's kind of funny because the main reason why we got into contact is I would say that we both got pretty praised in this class. Our professor typically liked our work, which always feels pretty good. Because it was kind of like sometimes we had random assignments that we never fucking did anything with. I don't even think they ever got graded. At least mine didn't. But we chose something to adapt that was in public domain into a short film that was around 15 to 20 pages, and we got to do anything we wanted with that in that domain. So what we would do is we would just take pieces of it to class, showcase it, get critiqued, sit down, and that was pretty much the class. Outside of our iconic professor, Mr. Warren Lewis, just going off on all these tangents, which is how Kemdi and I ultimately started chatting, because I think it was Kemdi came up to me and was like, "Hey, we we should be friends and get through this." And then Kemdi would side text me and be like, "Yeah, it was actually because I felt really bad for you last week because of how Warren went on a rant about your script and just about you in general, and it took up half the class period, which was 3 hours long, mind you." So, yeah, we kind of started talking as a joke to get through the class, in quotes. But also every now and then it was like, "Hey, I really like this page of your script. I really like how you described this." And it's like, "Oh, thanks, man." It's like, "Oh, I really liked your presentation today. Oh, yeah, thank you. I really like this movie," or whatever. But yeah, I can't remember any specifics about things. I'm sure we could find it in the archives of our text thread of just the crazy things of quoting what our professor would say.
I remember at times I would just disassociate, at least early on. But then I remember I came up to you one day because I discovered you did podcasts. I think I found
That's
you on Instagram, right. And I thought, oh, okay, she does podcasts too. That's cool. And I remember coming up to you and talking to you about that one day, and then I invited you to be on mine. And before and after that, I had gotten your number, so I would message you during class, just kind of whenever Warren would go off on a tangent about something or tell a story about working in Hollywood. I would kind of just start messaging you about like what was going on either in the class or just like in life or just stuff like that. And it just became such a recurring thing that after a certain point, I feel like I was going to the class just so I could, and I was just messaging you, and I wasn't even really like relaying what was happening in class. And it's okay that I wasn't because we didn't really do all that much at times. Like I remember the first like few weeks we were definitely following the syllabus. And then after a certain point, it just felt like, oh, okay, well, we could have just not been here today and nothing would have changed.
No, that's exactly it. And because Warren knew Kemdi, because like the um other people that were in the class that weren't in the master's program, like we didn't really know Warren. We hadn't taken him before this class. But he knew everybody in the master's cohort. So there would be there would be times where like he would specifically ask for Kemdi's opinion on things, or like we would like read, like do like table reads of like the different things we were being presented. So he would sometimes just like call out random specific people, but a lot of times it was for the master's program or like from their cohort. So it was always funny because Kemdi was always like, hold on, like I can't find the script. And you could just see him closing tabs on his laptop because he just wasn't even open. And it was always so funny. But
Because I
like,
because you would ask me about that, and I would like I do yeah. I wasn't just applying to a job right now. Yeah.
yeah, because like it would be like LinkedIn, but then there was other times that like because we had like the unassigned assigned seats, but a couple
Yeah.
times like I could see Kemdi's screen enough to see that he was writing just something else. Like it was just something completely different. And I was like, so what were you writing in class today? Like, was it for a different class? Was it like your grocery list? Like, what are we vibing with?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was always so funny. And I knew, I talked to someone in our class actually. Um, we were working on a CSP production actually. And, we were talking and she was like, yeah, I've never once presented anything in class because there's no way. Because the tangents would sometimes be so much where it would like cut into people's time sharing it and like into the table read. Or for me, like there was some weeks where like I got praised for one thing I did, and then the next week I added onto it more, and then I got heavily critiqued for what I did. But it didn't make any sense because it was just so like juxtaposy. But we're still friends on Instagram. What's up, Catherine, my queen? And she sent me her script and it was fantastic. It was amazing. And then I sent her mine too, and we like gush over each other's work for a little bit. But yeah, there was also like you wanted to present, at least for me, like I wanted to do it, so I stayed on top of the syllabus because I was trying to follow the syllabus at least to keep myself in check because we didn't have any markers. We didn't really have to submit anything until the end. Like we submitted things at the beginning and then at the very end, and that was it. And like it was just working on this one script. That was all we were doing for this class. That was the purpose of this class. But
I
it made
remember
it
we had a
hard.
presentation too that
So
we only had to do because somebody pulled a excuse me, teacher,
I still got
you
to do
forgot to give us our homework.
Was it Todd?
Maybe. Maybe. I think so
It,
actually. Yeah.
I feel like it fits him. So there was this presentation, and a part of the presentation for the master's cohort, to correct me if you're wrong, is you also had to do a paper,
We
correct?
did not do that paper.
They were supposed to do a paper on top of this presentation, and the presentation was like talking about an adaptation and kind of analyzing it like, is it a good adaptation? The problem with this, though, is we were so far removed from the syllabus, and we had to do it on such short notice that not only did the master's program not write the paper, but we didn't have to submit what films we were going to talk about. So, like, I see this as my last collegiate level presentation. So I chose to talk about the Minecraft movie, like, ironically. And I remember so vividly because this class was over Zoom for whatever reason, and everybody had like really thought-provoking films, and I had a presentation already ready that was like a film that meant a lot to me and all this stuff. And then I went, actually, I just saw the Minecraft movie with my roommate. I'm going to talk about the Minecraft movie. And yeah, I went off. I talked about the full thing. Probably, honestly, one of my more entertaining presentations. Um, and yeah, that was that was the day that Kemdi texted me and was like, I haven't been paying attention to anybody's presentations, but yours was so funny. Because you've never caught me more seriously talking about the Minecraft movie and the homoeroticism in it between Jack Black and Jason Momoa. And you know what? Yeah, Warren agreed.
Chicken jockey indeed.
Chicken jockey. Um, Steve Slava chicken. I had somebody type out the lyrics of that in the chat at one point, which was really funny. Um, and yeah, that's why. Because I remember like people had like mentioned it before, and Warren just kind of like not this week, and we were just kind of like, is there gonna be any week? And then yeah, somebody had brought it up, and then we all had to do it over
Yeah.
Zoom because that was the thing too. Sometimes the classes would either get canceled last minute or moved to
Yeah.
Zoom last minute because, and that's honestly, our professor had some health issues, so it wasn't entirely his fault.
Yeah.
Um, the only problem with that was sometimes he would take up a lot of class time talking about it. So we all felt for him, but we also were kind of sitting there and we're like, is this all we're going to talk about all class period? And sometimes it was. So you just left like, what, an hour and 42 minutes in, like just over the halfway part more like marker. And then like, oh man, we didn't talk about a single script. Probably should have done that. Or we had discussion posts where we were supposed to watch movies and analyze them. And
I
I'll
think we got 2 or 3 of them, and then it was just done.
yeah, I don't think. And then I remember at the end, he was like, oh yeah, make sure you submit all of them. I didn't. I was like, he's not going to grade these.
No.
We didn't
Nah.
even talk about them a majority of the time. They were mentioned in class, but we didn't give our like opinions on what we wrote about. Good times.
Good times. Well, now that
Good
we've
times.
talked about the end or close to the end of our college experience, let's talk a bit about the beginning. What was your move-in day like? What was your first year like at Cal State Fullerton?
So I went to college in fall of 2021. So we have had COVID restrictions slightly lifted for quite some time. Um, but they were still like heavily in place, social distancing, wearing masks, all that stuff. A lot of classes were still online. But like I had like a majority of mine in person. Um, for some of them just learned better in person, but I also just wanted that normalcy of going back to school, especially for this transition. Cause I kind of just blinked and I was like a junior in high school, like 15 turning 16. And then suddenly I was like in college. So crazy stuff. But my first year was definitely a bit of an adjustment, but I got really, really fortunate. I had the most amazing roommate ever. The most awesome person ever. She was my best friend. It was so great. And we always did like random stuff. And through college, we ended up living together after I was an RA and everything. And I'm, especially after being an RA, I'm just so fortunate for all my roommates. But that first year, Courtney really did just make that year for me and help me in that transition. Um, but yeah, at the time, I was actually a business major. I was wanting to do general business and then change my concentration to marketing. Because I had convinced myself at the time leaving high school that even though I was in theater and I've always wanted to be an actor and I've always wanted to be a writer and all this stuff, that I actually was lying to myself and I really wanted to be in like do like promos and promoting a film. So that's where I started. And you know, that first year is mostly like gen ed, like extended up high school classes, but any chance I could, I would fit in an elective that was acting, something film related. Like I couldn't get that hint of like, oh, all these other classes make me kind of miserable. Like I'm doing great in them, but whatever. Um, I should have noticed sooner. But yeah, I remember too, because living on campus was an adjustment. Cal State Fullerton is a commuter school, so on the weekends it was dead. After classes, dead. Like ghost town. Crazy. Um, And it being on campus, you get a dining plan. If you live in the dorms and it's your first year, you automatically have to pay for one. And the problem with that for me was I have celiac disease and also a quite lengthy list of allergies and intolerances. The problem with the gastronome, which was renamed something else, they like rebranded it, but they rebranded it like a dozen times, and guess what? It still sucked. That's why they called it the astronome, because it was terrible. I got sick. I was constantly sick. Constantly sick from everything. They had an allergen-friendly kitchen. It was not. It was not. And the battle with them actually continued to when I was an RA. Because it was just reaching to the point where, like, when I was an RA, that was my compensation. It was like, yeah, you get free housing and free meal plan. And I was like, well, I can't use your meal plan. And then somebody else had celiac too that had been, it was like a whole thing. But yeah, there was many times where, thank God I had Courtney with me because we would just make fun of the food that we would get. We'd end up getting like Fruity Pebbles or, like they had like other random stuff too. They had this little, cafe, the late night cafe that was open late. So I would get like
I remember that.
little, yeah, like the refreshers were always so good. And they had like ice cream and like random stuff that was so yummy. And then they closed it down and I was really sad about it because
They closed it
I
down like
guess
permanently?
I don't, I don't know if it was permanent or not. I can't remember honestly, but I remember they like it just wasn't a thing anymore my second year because I was like, I would go there all the time. And nothing. I could be misremembering it. My second year of college was crazy. So I was like, I could be misremembering it. But yeah, they also had this little like community market where you can use like a balance that also came with like your housing fees and stuff. And you can like replenish it. But the problem with that was because I couldn't eat at the gastronome and everything, I blew it all so fast. Oh my God, I forgot. I was in a frat too. Oh my God, I was in a co-ed business frat. As well. I was in a co-ed business frat as well.
You say that, and I just think of like the Wolf of Wall Street, that scene where they're just like, I'm not leaving, you know? And like all the crap that happens in the office there.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a part of a co-ed business fraternity, which um honestly like helped me have like a group of people my freshman year. I was just in such like a weird place starting college and in that transition that um I don't know, I felt bad. It was weird. I was like one of the um in my class there was only like 5 freshmen. Everybody else was like older transfer students. So I was just so much on the younger side. I felt like I just didn't know anything. I still didn't know what I wanted to do and all this stuff. I still met such amazing people in that frat. Like I had my little group and they graduated before me and I kind of just stopped being active because of that. But also when I was an RA, I just couldn't do stuff and there was like major drama that went down like crazy. I still don't know the full story. But then more stuff happened. So then I was like, well, maybe it's a good thing I'm not involved because I don't know the full story and I don't know if I want to. It just kind of got crazy.
I think I may have also heard something about that at the time.
Yeah, um it was it definitely like a fever dream. Um but yeah, still like to me for me, my first year of college was so insane. My first couple years, honestly. And but that first year is like so pivotal to like your experience because part of the reason why you have to take some of the gen ed classes is so you like have that stability of like, okay, you've already done something similar to this before. It's just introducing you to a more college level, like collegiate level coursework if you didn't take dual enrollment or AP classes. I took both, but it just helps in that transition of all these different changes. And finding your people is so important. Even though I'm not in like as much contact as I was with some people that first year, it still means so much to me that I had like really just genuine, amazing humans that first year that really helped me get through it and also helped me find myself. Like being away from home, you're finally able to just fully explore yourself without these like burdens and responsibilities that you may have. So I found out a lot about myself that first year. And again, like my roommate, Courtney, I love her to death. She was so amazing. And I feel like a lot of my college experience is just like I wish I could have told so many more people like thank you face to face in just a more genuine fashion. Because I feel like if I hadn't fallen in with these people, like I wouldn't have had the college experience that I did. Um, so yeah, it wasn't until my second year that I changed to film. But and before that, because Kemdi went to college before me, he started sooner. So what was your first year like?
Well, I was class 2019. That's when I graduated high school. So my first year was the 1920 year. Not to be confused with the year 1920. I did not go to college in 1920.
No,
Uh,
you saw the rise of Hollywood, Kemdi.
I did. I did. It was, I talked to all the great, I met Chaplin. Yeah. Um, but yeah, the first year it was interesting. I remember it was a Wednesday. I got dropped off, and then um, the school year didn't start until the following Monday. So I remember meeting my roommate, and I think we just like drank for like 4 days. And then like we woke up one day and we're just like, oh, we have to go to class now. And they're like, yeah, yeah. And I actually moved dorms. I only stayed in my first dorm. I think I stayed in what was it, Pine originally, and then I moved over to Juniper.
Mm,
It also took me forever to realize that all of the dorms were named
our
after
trees.
trees. Yeah, I just never realized wondered why that took me so long to realize. And then um, college was interesting for me from the beginning. I did something kind of stupid where I scheduled all my classes to be like back to back
At
to
8
back.
a.m. Uh,
Yeah. Very early in the morning too. Yeah. I wanted to be just like high school before I realized how much of a terrible mistake that would be. And I remember I failed my first ever class, and the only time I ever failed a class was I failed the was it but the math, what is it, calculus. I failed calculus. I like to blame it on the teacher, and that I thought that she wasn't very good. But now looking back on it, because at the time I was doing that, but now as I look back on it, I think it's just I wasn't trying very hard, and I wasn't trying to get help or go to tutoring or anything like that. So I could have done that, and I should have done that. But I did. I made up for it because Cal State Fullerton has great forgiveness. So I took the same class the next semester, and I did well in it. Um, that next semester was interesting though because I moved dorms. I found a whole like new friend group, and we hung out like all the time. There's so many videos I have from that time of just all the stuff we would get into or how we'd mess with each other and stuff like that. Just a good group of people, and I really loved being around them, and it really felt special. Like it felt like my own TV show essentially. Just like it felt like Friends essentially. I was the Chandler, of course, and school was also getting better. I feel like I was doing like a lot better in school, just like in general, because I was not like I was like a terrible student in like high school. Like I took AP classes and stuff like that, but I wouldn't say I was getting all A's. I was getting all A's my second semester, first year of college, and then COVID hit, and then I lost all motivation. I finished out pretty strong near the end, but there was like a period where I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore. Like I hate college. But those feelings went away pretty fast. So, and then there was the COVID year, which you luckily didn't have to experience, but it was literally just like every class was on Zoom. They actually told us we were going to go back in person like November 2020. So
yeah.
I got an apartment with some people that were friends with me from the dorms, and we got an apartment and we lived there from 2020 to 2021. That entire school year, we did not go in person, so it was essentially just a waste of money.
Oh,
Yeah, but it was fun though because that was my real taste of freedom. Because at least before, in the dorms, I kind of got that. But this is like I get my own room as opposed to sharing my room with somebody else. I'm paying rent, which wasn't the biggest fan of and still not the biggest fan of. I'll never be a fan of doing that. But, what can you do? Um, that COVID year was interesting. I remember not loving it. Like there was a class I remember in particular where I told the teacher this before that like, yeah, like when I had your class, I would literally just like turn off my camera and then play PlayStation 4. So, and then the 21-22 year, we finally come back in person. That was actually my first year as a film major. Before that, I had been undeclared because I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. I thought about being a bio major, but I wasn't the biggest fan of doing that. And then one point I thought I was going to be a public health major, but I fell asleep in my first public health class. And I did it like 3 different times. It was at 7 a.m. in the morning. So it was my fault. It was my fault, honestly.
Miserable
Yeah.
time.
Before I discovered energy drinks. So yeah. And 21-22 was fun. Took a lot of interesting classes that year. Really started getting into film classes. I had already been taking film classes up to that point, but like at this point, like I'm actually actively trying to like be a film student. And then 22-23, also a lot of fun. I'm still living off campus. That's another thing that's underrated. I didn't live like that far away from campus. I was like a couple streets away, but it feels different when you're not living there as opposed to like when you're living there.
Yeah. Yeah. 1000%. I feel like it's still such a good experience to have it, like especially in that transition, because that's really what it's there for. Like on campus living is that transition into school. Really, I mean they have housing for people in master's programs, people in transfer programs, like different like things that isn't necessarily meant for that transition, but it is kind of just like stages. So finally getting off campus for me too was just so amazing. Granted, I left I left campus after being an RA, which what a trip. That could be a whole separate episode on itself. That was so fucking crazy. My second year, I was so miserable. I had the worst residents. Some of them were awesome. Let me just say, some of them were awesome. I ended up working with some of them or being in clubs with some of them. Those people, amazing. A majority of them, terrible. I don't think I'll ever meet worse people. Um, but I had some really cool resident advisor friends that helped me get through it. And again, I wish I stayed in contact with more of them to just tell them like how much um them being in my life at that time meant to me. I was really, really struggling with a lot of different things on top of the job, and it meant a lot having my group of friends. I actually ended up meeting one of my future roommates through it as well, because we both didn't return to be an RA that next year, which led to my apartment, Big House, which was so awesome. I love Big House. I miss Big House. I miss all my roommates. Like I'm excited that so many of them, I say so many of them, I only had 4 roommates, but I like they're moving on to these next chapters of their lives. I'm so proud of them. I miss them so much. Big House was very much like a living room apartment where we would always like be out together yapping, and then like we'd come out and be like, hey, I got 15 minutes, you want to go on an adventure? And we'd be like, yeah, and then we'd all get ready and go. It was so great, but it was such a different experience than living on campus because you just feel more liberation too. And like also parking on campus can be a nightmare. Sometimes the motivation to move your car is just not, it's like, do I really need groceries or can I wait until there's a more likelihood that I can get a parking spot because I don't want to walk like 2 miles from the other one that people will keep breaking in and stealing the Cadillac converters off cars and stuff.
They do to be doing that.
They do. They made like so many articles about, oh my God, they strike again. And I was like, why isn't this person getting caught if they keep stealing everybody's Cadillac converters?
Who knows? Who knows?
was crazy.
If only Dora
But
was
yeah.
there to tell them swipe or no swiping.
Look on this map. Where was their escape route? Was it A, Nutwood? B, Yorba Linda? C, the 57? Or D, nothing?
Do you see the catalytic converters?
No. What about the screws to my car holding up what's it called? The plastic thing that keeps it in place. Or sometimes it's metal, depending on your car. Mine's plastic because
I'm not a car expert, unfortunately.
it's like the cover. I don't know. It has a name. I can't remember though. But yeah, definitely recommend doing both. Maybe not, depending on your school, do thorough research on how it is being a resident advisor because free housing and meals sound so great and so worth it. Until you do the job. Then it's like, oh, this is a little bit, oh. But maybe that's just me. I have a very biased experience. Again, thank you so much, all my friends that I've made and everybody that was so nice to me still. I wish you all so well. What the heck? That was not the time to turn off. Loser light. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I still have so many of you on Instagram. Please watch this podcast. I'm praising you. You helped me get through that shit hole of a time. Oh my God. But thank you. You guys were great. Or there were some people that were R's that just fucking sucked as people too. But like a majority of them that I talked to were awesome. But yeah, that being said though, living on campus feels like a rite of passage. Living off campus, that final liberation is so awesome, especially if you have amazing roommates. And trust me, I have seen the terrible things that roommates can do to each other. Okay. It's crazy. And again, that's why it gave me another level of appreciation for all my roommates. All my roommates were so great. One of them's a badass nurse now. The other one's an athletic trainer, like director at like this huge college. And then my other ones are just really cool. And I love and miss them. And I obviously need to text them. But yeah, you meet so many different people. You really find yourself. And yeah, I don't know. There's just something that comes with having that freedom. And also it's so nice to just, after you live on campus for a year, it's so nice to be away from it. So you can actually leave school at school. It's just so nice and so different. So I highly recommend 10 out of 10, further your education if you can.
All right. Well, before we close, I feel like we should both take turns and share any advice we have for anyone entering college at this time. At the time this episode is going to go out, it's going to go out near the end of August. So people should be starting school just about now or just about to start school if they haven't already. My advice for anyone in college is try as many things as you possibly can. Just, you never know, what you might like, what you might not like. And don't just stick to what you're comfortable with. You try to go outside your comfort zone. There's a lot of things you may not end up knowing you're going to like. And take more chances, again, like you don't get to, you can go to college as many times as you want if you have the money and you get accepted. But for the most part, most people just go to college once, maybe twice. And, I still have some regrets about things I didn't do in college. I wish I had done more intramurals. I wish I had tried a couple minors. That sounds weird. I mean like not a major, a minor, like a minor,
Like when you're studying it in school,
yes,
you can
yes, yes.
If you didn't know, there's a major that you study, but you can also do a minor. So like because I started in business, I wanted those credits to transfer to film because a lot of them didn't. So I ended up keeping the basic business admin minor with my major of cinema and television arts.
Yes.
And I also had a friend that she helped me ultimately change my mind to pursue film because she made me 3 different spreadsheets of potential class pathways that I could take and how long it would take me to graduate depending on them. With having different variations of a marketing major and film minor and all this stuff. She was so cool for that. I appreciate her so much for that. Ultimately changed my life and all that stuff. But I'm so glad I did not take accounting for nothing. Oh my God, I'm so glad I switched to the minor. I could have gotten something that was more relevant and like started over, but again, I did not take accounting for nothing. Girl, I needed those credits to go to somewhere. There's some cool minors though, random ones you can take, like just because that are so short. Definitely explore those. I agree.
And then definitely try work study jobs. And apply to as many scholarships as you can or grants as possible. Like seriously, college is expensive. You don't want to take out like loans. I mean, I took out like one loan. I don't owe that much, but still, if you can get out of owing anything for college, that's great. I actually ended up not owing anything for my undergrad. It was only my grad school that I owed money on. And I'm about, I think as of currently about 10% of it paid off already.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. And just go out to more events, try as many things as you possibly can. As Shakira once said in the movie Zootopia, try everything.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I got.
We must listen to Queen Shakira. I think my biggest thing is like do some deep self-reflection, man. Look for ways for personal growth on top of your professional growth because obviously you're going to study things that you want to do for the rest of your life or like at least start like a career. And I feel like it gets so focused on the professional stuff. Like this is a time to reinvent yourself. Like I was a completely different person my freshman year. And I finally had a moment where I was like, what am I doing? Like I'm really not like being my full self. I'm a very naturally like anxious and timid person. And I was like, I need to change that. Like I need to like really think like I want to be different. I want to actually like feel like myself. And it's so worth it. And sometimes, it's uncomfortable, but finding yourself and what you really want to do and being yourself and what you want to do is so, so, so important in actually like living life. And, it takes a while. It's not like easy peasy. You'll go through like little phases of just like trying to figure stuff out. Um, like for me, I used to not do makeup at all. And now it's a really big part of something I do. I love doing my makeup. I have the craziest little shapes. Today I don't. I had an adult paint and sip, so I can't do super crazy shapes, but I do have rhinestones. Just a little bit. But at least like I really feel myself when I'm able to express myself artistically on my face and my little shapes, matching them to my earrings, my clothes, all that. And I wouldn't have done that if I didn't just start sitting myself down and go, who do I actually want to be? I have all of these different attributes that I am shelving and not using because I thought that they wouldn't be used or useful in a professional career. And that was just silly of me to think. I was putting myself in my own box and I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. Also, do thorough research on your school cafeteria if you are living on campus. If you can get the block meal plan, do that. So important. So, so, so important. If you have allergies, beef with the chefs. Make them know your name. Scream at them. If they're bad. If they're good, obviously don't do that. Like, be homies with them. But, like, yeah, definitely those two. Take the electives that you don't think you would ever want to do. Take the silly and whimsical ones. Like, really like have fun with it. There are so many random classes. A lot of people don't know too. Like you can take activity courses for one unit just to like fill in some time, get some like learn a new sport. Like I took badminton with my friends and it was so fun. We learned about badminton and then if you're studying like kinesiology and all of that, like you have to do a lot of those activity courses, but a lot of people don't know about them. There's like, depending on where you're going, there's surfing, there's like swimming, there's bowling, badminton, there's like so many different things you could do. Like take the random whimsical courses that you wouldn't expect to do because you're like, oh, I'm a super serious, like I don't know, like bioengineer major. I'm not gonna take badminton. I'm too serious. No, dude, take badminton. It's fun. Make some friends. It's great. Um, and think I think the last thing too is yeah, go to the events to find your people, like connect with people on campus through different jobs, all of that. It's so important to just be able to have like your own little group, even if it's small. Like my little circle from college is pretty small. But that doesn't like change like how like genuine and appreciative of the relationships I have with these people, like it doesn't change that. And it really does help. It helps motivate you. And overall it does like it's just fun to have friends to do random stuff with. Go on random adventure. Do the spontaneous adventures. Even if you think you don't have time, if it's finals week and you're sitting around with your roommates or roommate and you're just like, fuck, we're miserable. Like we gotta find a way to get through this. Go get fucking ice cream or coffee, something. Do those little spontaneous adventures. I wish I did more of those my first couple years. Um, After I moved into my apartment, much like different. We would do them all the time. And those are like the most fond memories I have of college is just doing those random little things and going like, hey, or like even like spontaneous concerts. Like, hey, you want to go see this person? Like Courtney and I saw Pitbull. He was great.
Mr.
And so many
Worldwide.
other people. Mr. 30 motherfucking 5. He was great. After every song, if you didn't know, he goes like this. Like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. I just ate that up. Um, But yeah, try everything. Well, maybe not everything. There's probably some things that you shouldn't try. But I also feel like there are some college canon events that we can't disclose here that you just got to get through. So actually,
That's for the
yeah.
Patreon.
That's for the free. What would the Patreon be called? We got our standard freeloaders.
Um, the rent payers.
The rent pay. Oh my God, Kemdi, does that mean we're landlords?
Yeah,
Oh, your favorite landlords are back.
I like that.
Oh, so good. But yeah, again, as Kemdi once said before, quoting just one of the most amazing lyricists ever, especially with this quote from this super indie film, super low budget, super low key. Um,
Cult
Also,
film, yeah.
yeah, super, super like indie artist. She's kind of camp, uh, you know. But try everything. I love you, Shakira.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, and
All right.
you want to know what's so crazy? Her hips don't even lie. So many of them do, but not hers.
Yeah. Waka waka. All right. I think that's it for today's episode. Hope you guys like this little, I guess, detour from our usual episodes. This time we kind of talked about our own history rather than something pop culture related, but it still kind of fits under the guise. So, yeah. All right, guys. Whether you're in the middle of college, just starting college, or thinking about going back to college, hope you like this episode. Thank you for listening. Take care and goodbye.